Good morning, children. Welcome to your English class. Today, we are going to revise our chapter, Malakoff. By the end of this video, you will be able to narrate the story in your own words, understand the meanings of the difficult words and phrases in the context of this chapter, and answer the related questions. But before starting with the reading of this chapter, let's discuss the summary. The chapter Malakoff is an interesting story about Malakoff, a heroic dog who became famous for saving the life of the very person who tried to kill him. This act won Malakoff many admirers from those who loved him for his forgiving nature and bravery. Now let's discuss the detailed summary. Malakoff was a very large Newfoundland watchdog for a Parisian jeweler. But he didn't like Jax, who was one of the jeweler's apprentices. All the people in the shop noticed this and teased Jax about it. Jax hated all the animals. Whenever he saw an animal, he would tremble with fear and hatred. Once he had kicked Malakoff too, and that is why it didn't like Jax. He decided that he would kill the dog with the help of his friends. According to their plan, they led the dog towards the river, tied a big stone around his neck and threw him into the fast-moving water. The dog started struggling for its life. As he was a very big dog, he swam powerfully and managed to reach ashore. Suddenly, Malakoff looked around and saw that Jax too was drowning in the river water. His friends had run away. They didn't notice that he also fell in the river. As Jax didn't know how to swim, he began to sink. Malakoff saw this. He turned and swam back towards Jack and tried to save him. In the meantime, his friends realized that Jax was not with them. They went back to the riverbank and rescued the dog and their friend. Later on, Jax hugged Malakoff and wept as he begged for the dog's forgiveness. The story of the heroic dog spread throughout Paris. When he died, nearly every apprentice in Paris followed his funeral procession. Now open your English literature books, Roots and Wings, at page number 66. Now see children, on page number 66 there is a get set. Exercise A. Different breeds of dogs are shown below. Name them. Now see the picture. First one is German Shepherd. Second is American Bulldog. Third, Dalmatian. Fourth is Labrador. Now come on exercise B. How can dogs be useful as companions? Mention any 3 points. Now children, many of us have dogs at our homes. They are our good companions. So now we have to tell 3 things in which dogs prove to be useful companion. First is dogs live to love and please us. You know, our pet dogs love us the most. Their reaction when you come home from work is priceless. Have you ever noticed that whenever you go back from school, they start wagging their tail? This is their expression of love towards you. They don't discriminate and are very loyal. You know, they are very loyal towards their family. They guard our house. They don't discriminate. I hope you have understood this get set. Now let's start reading. Read and enjoy. Read this interesting story about Malakoff, the heroic dog. Heroic means brave. Who became famous. Famous is popular. For saving the life of the very person who tried to kill him. This act won Malakoff many admirers who adored him. Adored means loved, for his forgiving nature and bravery. One day, Arun asked his mother to tell him a story. Underline to tell him a story, उसे कहानी सुनाने को. That day, his mother had read a true story about a dog called Malakoff. She decided to tell him the story, which is given below. Malakoff was a very large Newfoundland dog. Newfoundland is a breed of dog. He was the watchdog of a Parisian jeweler. Watchdog is a dog kept to guard private property, and Parisian is a native or inhabitant of Paris. So underline for a Parisian jeweler, एक पेरिस के जौहरी के लिए. For some reason, Malakoff did not like Jax. So children, Jax is the name of the person who did not like Malakoff and will later try to kill Malakoff. But Malakoff is going to save his life. Jax was one of the jeweler's apprentices. Apprentices, one who works with an expert to learn. So children, underline of the jeweler's apprentices, जौहरी प्रशिक्षुओं का. Perhaps there was something about the man that Malakoff did not trust. Whenever Malakoff saw Jax, he would bark at him. However, he was very friendly towards other apprentices. All the people in the shop, underline in the shop, दुकान में, noticed this and teased Jax about it. Teased means made fun of. Now remember children, the feeling we have for our dogs, they easily understand it. If somebody who is not in good terms with the dog comes to our house, the dog would start barking. Dogs have a natural tendency to understand the feelings and thoughts of the person. So whenever the dog barks, it means that the person is not at good terms with the dog and the family also. Let's continue. Oi Jax, they would say, here comes your favorite dog. Why don't you go out and play ball with him? So children, this is the way how others used to make fun of Jax. They knew that Jax did not like Malakoff and Malakoff did not like Jax. So they used to tease Jax that why doesn't he go out and play with him. So who asked his mother to tell a story? Arun asked his mother to tell a story. Who was Malakoff? Malakoff was a very large Newfoundland dog. Whom did the dog belong to? The dog belonged to a Parisian jeweler. Who was Jax? Jax was one of the jeweler's apprentices. Why did Malakoff not like Jax? Malakoff didn't like Jax because once he had kicked him. How did all the people in the shop tease Jax? All the people in the shop teased Jax by calling Malakoff his favorite dog. Now let's continue reading. Jax laughed with others. However, in reality, he was really very angry. Jax didn't like animals. In fact, he hated all animals. Hated means disliked. Even the cute kittens and the snowy owls. Whenever he saw an animal, he would shudder. Shudder means tremble with fear and hatred. Underline with fear and hatred, भय और घृणा के साथ. If no one was looking, he would kick the animal. Underline kick and write down hit with foot. So here we have got a reason why Malakoff did not like Jax. He might have kicked Malakoff also. Let's read further. He had kicked Malakoff once. That is why the dog always bared his teeth when Jax came near him. Bared his teeth means uncovered his teeth. So children, this is an expression of anger of the dog. You might have seen when you are teasing a dog, it bares its teeth and growls at you. One day, Jax decided that he would kill the dog. Jax told some of his friends about his plan. Underline about his plan. उसकी योजना के बारे में. They were not very happy, but since Jax was their friend, they decided to help him. I can't go to the shop because of this dog, he told them. The owner is very fond of him. Underline fond of him, loved him. If he finds out how much the dog dislikes me, he may fire me. Fire means to dismiss an employee from employment. I will lose my job because of this stupid dog. Underline because of this stupid dog is बेवकूफ कुत्ते की वजह से. You have to help me, he said. So in these paragraphs we have read that Jax not only hated Malakoff but all the other animals. And whenever he got a chance, he would kick the animal. And he had kicked Malakoff also. And that is why the dog did not like Jax. So Jax made a plan with his friends to kill Malakoff. The friends were not happy because it is not good to kill animals. Moreover, Malakoff was a friendly dog to others. But Jax is their friend, so they decided to help him out. So children, why Jax wants to kill Malakoff? Jax wants to kill Malakoff because he has fear that if the owner comes to know that Malakoff did not like Jax, he would turn him out of his job. How did Jax decide to get rid of the dog? In order to get rid of the dog, Jax decided to kill him. Now let's continue reading. His friends agreed. They planned to lead the dog to the river Seine. River Seine is a river in France. It was not very difficult to do this. Malakoff was actually a friendly dog. Jax asked one of his friends to bring some meat and a ball. Underline to bring some meat and a ball. कुछ मांस और गेंद लाने के लिए. First, they gave him the meat. Jax stayed out of the way while they were doing this. Then his friends began to play with Malakoff. The owner of the jewelry shop was busy, so he did not notice that his loyal dog was playing with strangers. Underline with strangers, ajnabiyon ke saath. So children, here we come to know that these friends of Jax are not working in the shop. They are strangers. Slowly, the friends led the dog towards the river. Underline towards the river, nadi ki or. The dog came after them chasing the ball. Chasing means following the ball. By the time they were near the river, it was dark. It was also very cold and there was no one around. The friends tied a big stone around Malakoff's neck and threw him into fast-moving water. Underline into fast-moving water, तेजी से आगे बढ़ते पानी में. At first, poor Malakoff was very surprised. Surprised means shocked. He could not understand why he had been thrown into the water. Then he started struggling. The heavy stone was dragging him down. Now, as I have told you earlier, Malakoff was a very big dog. He began to fight for his life. Underline to fight for his life. अपने जीवन के लिए लड़ने को. Soon he was swimming and struggling towards the shore. Underline towards the shore, किनारे की ओर. In these paragraphs we have read that what was planned by Jax and his friends and how they carried out their plan. Friends of Jax first gave some meat to Malakoff to eat and then gave him a ball to play, and they started playing with him. Because the shop owner was busy, he did not notice that his dog was going out with strangers. As they were playing with him, they carried him towards the river and tied a big stone around his neck and threw him into the moving water. Malakoff was shocked at this, but because he was a very big dog, he dragged the stone and with great struggle reached ashore. So children, what was the plan made by Jax and his friends? Jax and his friends thought of killing Malakoff by drowning him into fast-flowing water. How did Jack's friends tempt Malakoff? Jack's friends tempted Malakoff by offering him some meat. How did Jack's friends try to kill the dog? Jack's friends tied a big stone around the dog's neck and threw him into the fast-moving water. Why was Malakoff surprised? Malakoff was surprised because he could not understand why he had been thrown into the water. Now let's continue reading. He swam so powerfully that even with the stone he managed to make it almost to the shore. Suddenly, Malakoff heard something behind him. He looked around and saw that Jax too was in the water. Jax had fallen in as he was pushing the big dog into the water. Jax couldn't swim. His friends had run away because they had seen someone coming towards the river. They didn't want to be accused of killing a dog. Accused means a person or a group of people charged for a crime. Though that was exactly what they were doing. So in these two paragraphs we have read that Malakoff was able to save himself, and when he looked behind, he found that Jax was also drowning. So children, how did Malakoff save itself? Malakoff saved itself by struggling and pulling the stone along with him ashore. What happened to Jax? When Jax was pushing the big dog into water, he himself fell into the water. What did Malakoff realize? Malakoff realized that its attacker Jax was drowning. Who didn't know swimming? Jax didn't know swimming. Why did Jack's friends run away? Jack's friends ran away because they had seen someone coming towards the river and they didn't want to be accused of killing the dog. I hope you all have understood this chapter. Now read the chapter thoroughly and revise all the back exercises of this chapter. Thank you.